Welcome to Empowered Living. I'm Ann Shu. On this podcast, innovative leaders and visionary experts share insights and practical tools for work, family, and marriage. Each episode, we'll explore how to elevate your life while staying grounded in what truly matters to you. You're working hard to navigate relationships, build a thriving family, and create a legacy of purpose. We're here to help you do that with confidence and intentionality. So if you're ready to live a life by design, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about the invisible work that keeps a household running and how it's finally time to stop doing it all ourselves. Joining me today is Kelly Hubbell, founder of Sage Haus, a company helping families find thoughtful, reliable in-home support like family assistants and house managers. In this episode, we talk about the mental load so many parents carry, what it really looks like to delegate with confidence, and how building home systems isn't just a luxury, it's leadership. Kelly shares insights from behind the scenes of high-functioning families and offers practical tools to help you reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace. Let's dive in. Hi, Kelly. How are you doing today? I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, let's dive in. So when we are talking about home systems, I know that there's two parts to the work that you do. It's about finding the right person and then creating the right systems to really set them up for success. So let's start with the people. Can you tell me what are your best tips for how to find this person and what to look for?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we help busy families find more support in their home. And what that typically looks like is a house manager or a family assistant specifically. The way that we do that is we really try to understand more about what a family specifically needs. Every family is a little bit different, and that they might need more childcare, they might need more house management, they might need meal prep, all of those things that we're doing as busy parents to that we're fitting into our day. That's what we help them to offload. So yeah, to answer your question, like that's what we do best. We go and find wonderful people who want to help families on a part-time or full-time basis to help lighten their mental load. We do that by ensuring that job descriptions are very detailed, that they're very customized, that they're very tailored specific to a certain family. And we go out and really search for like a modern Mary Poppins for the families that we work with.
What are some things that a client may not think to ask about or to look for in this person that you guys have seen? Like if this person doesn't typically have these traits, it probably won't work.
Yeah, I would say most of the families we work with really are trying to buy back their time and fully offload the mental and physical load that they've taken on. And so they're looking for someone who is really proactive, who really gets it, who is a good communicator, takes initiative, all of those things in a person that that they would want in their home. So someone who's like very trustworthy, someone who can manage their time really well, I would say are characteristics that we look for and that families really want.
How does the family know when they found the right person?
Well, I think that they get a really good sense of the person through our own hiring process that we help run for them. I think it's like a really personal, it's a really personal thing to have someone come into your home and like really be a part of your life. And so I think most families, it takes time to like fully give things off, to fully develop trust with somebody. But yeah, that's what we're good at.
What are some tasks that you've seen this person, whether they're a family assistant or house manager, take over that people who may not have had somebody in this role before might not think that it's possible to delegate?
Yeah, I get that one all the time. And that is the short way to answer that is anything you would do for your family is something that you can expect a house manager or family assistant to do for your own family. So that is anything from calling the plumber because there's a leak, to taking out the garbage, to picking up your kid from soccer practice, taking your dog for a walk, calling to book appointments. I mean, anything under the sun. My own house manager, it helps me deep clean the garage. Like literally, like nothing is like out of bounds for someone who is really like willing to help you and your family. Some of the things that clients that we work with like really love is like organization, taking things to donations, car care, making sure that like cars are getting serviced, that insurance is up to date. So it's like life admin, any sort of like life admin tasks that you could think of is what a house manager does, like in addition to like sort of the table stakes of laundry for the whole family, helping with meal prep, filling up the car with gas, doing grocery shopping, like all of those life things that we just sort of need to keep life going.
What's the difference between a family assistant and a house manager?
It's essentially the same thing. It's kind of like nomenclature based on where you live. I find like a lot of people in sort of the different areas of the world say family assistant, some say house manager. I would say a house manager is more skewed to, I would say more than 50% of what they're doing is household specific, whereas a family assistant is maybe more than 50% child care. So they're like watching it's almost like a nanny with additional duties is what I would consider a family assistant, whereas like a house manager is more like a household manager who also sometimes helps out as needed on with kids or with like family obligations.
Yeah. How do you get over the stigma of asking for help and then delegating the things that, quote unquote, moms are supposed to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think every mom is sort of on their own journey when it comes to fully coming out from under this feeling of guilt and obligation around what we should do, because our society and culture has told us for a long time we should do all of these things and we can have it all and we can do it all. And the fact of the matter is that we in fact cannot do it all, and not in a way that's healthy without burning ourselves out or burning the candle at both ends. And so I think a lot of us are, we saw in the generation that, our moms today, like we saw our moms doing that, and we also saw our moms really burning out and losing a sense of self because they were so fully wrapped up in their role as a mom and caregiver. So I think it kind of starts with like, wow, this is all the invisible work that I'm doing. What are some of the things that don't actually have to be done by me? And I think like it sounds so simple, but that's sort of an aha moment for a lot of the moms that I work with, which is like, just because you can do the laundry doesn't mean that you should be the one doing the laundry, because having back those 4 to 5 hours a week in your life could open you up to be doing things that like really fill your cup. And so I think it's just a matter of, I think we really are at the place though. I really truly believe to my core, like moms are finally putting their foot down and they're like, wait, I don't have to do this by myself. Like I don't need to, hold the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I can ask for help. And I think it's like the more that we just talk about it, the more that we normalize it, which is really my goal when I started Sage Haus, was I want to normalize this. I don't want people to think like asking for help and like getting more help and support in your home is only for like the Kardashians of the world. It's not. It's right. It's like I am, in our case, like we were a dual income working household, and like, we realized that an investment of $300 a week in finding more support for our family was like way more valuable to our family than driving the newest BMW, right? I mean, that's a tough one. I think everyone's sort of on their own journey with that guilt.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because I think there are a lot of people who are listening who could probably use a little bit of guidance or encouragement on the stigma of spending the money on having somebody help. Like maybe they can afford it, but it feels weird to spend that money on something that I could do that.
Yeah, I know. There's a concept that is actually way more and more prevalent, which is like the concept of buying back your time. There's a book written by Dan Martell and many of those corporate entrepreneurial leaders. And it's honestly the same concept in business that people have. They're growing a business. They realize they can't be the CFO and COO and so they need to hire someone to do that for them. And so I think if we can start to bring these like business principles into our life, to our home life, running our home like a business, it's the same concept, right? It's it may feel uncomfortable to invest in something that gives you time back, but it's really like the only way to make yourself scalable as a person. And I think of like your home as a business in terms of like scaling. Like for those of us who have like are adding like kids and dogs and houses, and we're scaling a business here. The way that we scale, I mean, my Costco bill definitely tells me like I'm scaling a business here, right? So it's like, how do we do that in a way that we can scale and optimize and like make the most of our time? Life is short, time is limited, and time is really the only thing we have. And so, how do we value that? How do we value our time? What is an hour? What is an hour of your time worth to you, right?
Yeah. How do you coach clients on what tasks to delegate? Because I have some friends that picking their child up from, carpool every day is really important for them.
Mm-hmm.
They would, they could never in a million years imagine delegating that because that's like important connection time for them and their child. Whereas I know other people that are like, oh yeah, I'll send, our house manager of nanny to go pick up our kids. And so
Yeah.
how do you know what is the right thing to delegate and separating that from like head trash you might have around just asking for help or delegating or sending the money?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, to me, that one's like pretty cut and dry. It's like what brings you joy and what brings you connection. And those are the high value activities that you really want as a part of your life. It's like really looking introspectively into what's important to me. And I've kind of fallen into that bucket that you mentioned, which is I have built a business around getting done at 3 p.m. because I want to be at the bus stop when my kindergartner gets off the bus at 3 o'clock. And like, that is my special time to like spend time with my kids and spend time with my family. So I'm out of here at 3 o'clock. And that's just what's really important to me. And that's something I'm not giving up. But the things that I am giving up that allow me to get to the bus at 3 and spend time with my kid in the afternoons are, I'm not trying to do laundry at the same time. I think it's a matter of really figuring out like what is important to me. Like what do I want to be spending my time doing? It's like a time audit. It's an energy audit. What feels good, like a good way, positive way to be spending my time and energy. Like I work with clients all the time who are like, Whole Foods is my happy place. I love to go do my own grocery shopping. I'm like, then don't delegate that thing. If you love Whole Foods, girl, go to Whole Foods, right? But it's like, how about then you give up those other things that are making you feel stressed and overwhelmed so that when you're at Whole Foods, you can be fully present at Whole Foods, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like different for every person.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Do you recommend that most people start with part-time, or do you see that really every house needs full-time support?
No, just depends on the family. I would say the majority of our clients use part-time support in their home, and that's becoming just more and more prevalent. We started small, and I recommend most people start small. Like come up with 10 hours of things that someone could take off your plate. Start small. And what most of our clients find is like they started at 10 hours and now their house manager is working 20 to 25 hours a week for them because they're giving more and more to this person. But yeah, I would say, I think that's in itself is also a huge myth of, oh, you won't ever be able to find somebody because they're not going to be part-time. That's not the case. And I would say most of the families we work with, we find part-time house managers, family assistants, meal prep chefs, people who really want part-time roles and really love working with families. And that's what we typically find.
So let's shift. Now, let's imagine this world where we found the right person. What do families need to do to really set them up for success? Setting this person who's like coming into your home, joining your family, how do we make sure that they are able to work effectively and really help out in a meaningful way?
Yeah, that's like the second piece of the puzzle that is so imperative. And so we have spent the last 2+ years working with families, and just last week finally launched what we call our home systems digital course. And it's a playbook that we give to our clients or families who are like, I have a nanny or an au pair, but I just really need better systems in my home. And this is like, think about the best practices that we've found from families on everything someone would need to know walking in the door to your home on like how it runs, how you want it to run, all the way from like, here is our standing grocery list, our standing pantry list. Here is our inventory of everything that we buy in our home and where we buy it. Here's a recipe box for like the 8 common meals that my family will eat, so that you can really start to document, like, this is how our family runs, so that the person that you hire can come in, learn how your family runs, and then completely take things over for you. So like, you never again have to rewrite a grocery list. Like, there's no more writing these lists. It's like, these are living, breathing systems in your home that you've now fully handed off to someone to take over for you. Like creating a list of laundry schedules. So you're never like, when was the last time we washed the sheets, or like the towels, hand towels in all the bathrooms, right? All that kind of stuff. I mean, to the detail. So that is like a very, very important piece. Is it's not just about finding somebody to help you. It's about making them really successful in the role and like fully handing over the keys to the castle.
Where do you see some of the biggest stakes along the way in this systems creation delegation process, like the documentation? Like where do most people get it wrong?
By not doing it at all, is what I would say. Like, I think people get it wrong because they find somebody and they're like, oh, I found this really amazing person. They're so great. But then they don't take the time to set them up for success. And then communication falls apart. Like, I mean, we have documented in our home systems playbook, like, what is the communication policy in your home with this person? Is it easiest to email you, to text you? Does it depend on the context of the situation? How often are you meeting? What is the weekly agenda meeting for you and your house manager to talk through? Like, here are the 5 things we need to talk about this week to make sure that they get done. To here are high priority items in our household. We've got guests coming in this weekend. You know, like, what are those? I mean, to the detail. I think it's just some people forget that it takes upfront energy and effort to make sure someone's good. I was listening to a podcast this morning about, like, it's the same with AI models, right? It's like, you can't just jump into ChatGPT and say, go and make me this. It's like, it needs context. If it's going to do a really good job for you, it needs more context. So it's about like setting it up for success by training it, by giving it context. And that's like the same thing you're doing with a physical person in your home.
Yeah. Are there any apps or softwares or tools that you found are helpful for communication, for the working together in the home?
Yeah, so that's so our home systems playbook and template is built in Notion.
Okay.
And the goal is really to provide a point of collaboration between a house manager and the family. So our home systems playbook is that. I've also worked with clients who have had success with Maple, which is an app that they can use it's really more of like a partner collaboration app. It's more like you can use it with a partner. I've also worked with families who have like a Hearth calendar, a skylight calendar that they use to manage their calendar. And it's like, an iPad calendar in the kitchen. That being said, like, I don't think there's any like, silver bullet to making anything work. I think that like, it's not like you can't just download a meditation app and then like, you're like, oh, suddenly I'm like enlightened, right? It's like, it takes work. So
I download the meditation app and I think like, this is all I have to do, right? Like,
right, this is it.
Osmosis into my brain. I try it every year. And then I'm like,
yep, I know. Yeah.
What do you think are some, other than like missing the documentation, where do you see these relationships go wrong? Like, when do they not work, and what has happened? Like, what has caused these relationships to fall apart?
The relationship between a family and a house manager,
Yeah.
specifically?
Like, what are some of the mistakes that either side made that caused it to not work?
Yeah, I think it's just communication. I mean, I think everything kind of comes back to that. I think setting expectations from the beginning is so, so important. And so if you're not setting expectations, then there could be misalignment. And I think it's also important for people to know, like, just take a step back, like 30,000 foot view of like, we're human. And your house manager or family assistant like isn't gonna work with you forever, your whole life, right? Like, they're gonna move on, they're gonna do other things. Like, we all move on, we all go do different things. And so I think it's a matter of like just knowing that it's okay if someone moves on in 3 or 4 or 5 years. Like, you're gonna be able to find somebody else to help you and your family, right? Like, I think there are a lot of also like people who fear just having someone else in their home
Hmm.
and like helping them. I think people have fear of delegation. I think that's kind of a funny one to me because it's like you just want them to get it right and they just want to get it right. So like if you can communicate it, then everyone wins, right? But for some reason, we are like fearful of being really direct, being like communicating, and so I think it can fall apart in that way too. I think that's like one of the biggest pieces, and in our home systems playbook that we've set up, we recommend and have templates for feedback, like two-way feedback. Like here, hey, every 3 months we're going to do this. We're going to have two-way feedback. How's it going for you? How's it going for me? What can we do to make this better? I think that just sort of like continuous improvement is important.
Let's talk about something that you just mentioned because I don't have this problem of like this fear of having people in my home or feeling like I have to change who I am. Like I just, it doesn't bother me if there's people helping in my home. But I have a lot of friends who have, made comments about like, oh, we can't like be our real selves. We have to like, we're a little more guarded. And they have this, there's something that there's like a wall that is preventing them from allowing somebody to truly come into their home to help because they don't like having that outsider in their home. So can you talk to those listeners that feel that and like what they can do to overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I think trust can be built. I think I would just say like you might not ever overcome it, but I think that you'll see more upside than downside, right? Like there's more positive that comes out of it than negative. And if you can give it a chance and start really small, I think that you'll find like net your life is so much better because you have the support than not. And you may completely change your mind, right? I think it's about like finding the right person, finding the right fit for your family. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah.
But
Do you think it's rare to find somebody who can grow as your family grows and through the different ages and stages of your family? Or do you think that certain people with certain personalities are better for younger families? And then as your kids get older, you need to find somebody different?
I would say it just depends. I do think that there are people out there who can sort of like fit the mold for different seasons of life for people. I do see a lot of times families shifting from almost like we talked about, sort of like the nanny family assistant model to more like, okay, now our kids are older and we actually need different kinds of support here. So maybe a house manager is better suited for our family now at this stage. And there are a lot of overlapping skill sets. So like this, it could be the same person, but it may end up being that someone else really does want to be spending more time with like kids and caregiving versus like the household management, executive assistant sort of type stuff.
What do you think is the most unique thing that you have your house manager do that the other people might not be?
Unique. Oh my gosh. I mean, she does so much for our family.
Is she part-time or full-time?
She's part time. Yep. She's part time. I mean, she took my dog to the vet last week because he had a rash. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to do this. She power washed our garage,
Oh, nice.
which was amazing.
Is it
She's
hard to
constant.
find someone who is so willing to flex between like the physical work, like the heavy, like the power washing, and then also can be smart enough to take your dog to the vet and know, like, be able to make a decision about, like, okay, we need to start this medicine or we need to do this. Like, that's a pretty wide range of skill set and willingness to help with like getting their hands dirty, but then also
Yeah.
making decisions for your family.
Yeah. The answer is yeah, that's why we exist because these people are very hard to find, and finding like a unicorn for your family is a process. And so that is like why we look for very, very specific type of people who can flex. But at the same time, I sort of feel like we mentioned at the beginning, like, I mean, I can power wash in my garage and take my dog to the vet. Like there are people out there who can do that, right? Like, I mean, anything I would do for my family, I think it's okay to, and, expect someone else to do that. And I think that's where like we've kind of gone wrong in our sort of culture is like, why are we putting our needs in buckets? It's like, okay, I need a nanny for childcare, and I need house cleaners who just only clean my house, and I need somebody who just makes food. Like, it's like, why can't we just sort of have one person who can do all of these things for our household and our family? Because those people exist, they're out there. We've just, for some reason, maybe it's because we felt like really uncomfortable as a culture and like asking someone to do a lot for us. We've kind of like put them in buckets. And I think that I'm here to sort of like break down those barriers.
What other processes can you talk me through that are helpful for making sure that things run effectively and efficiently, and that you guys are
Oh gosh, process it. I mean, like in terms of home, I think, those are some of the things we sort of like walk through within our own playbook, but it's like thinking about feeding the family, thinking about keeping the house clean, thinking about car care and pet care and plant care, like all of the living things, keeping those things alive.
If it were not for our nanny, all the plants in our house would be dead.
Yeah, there you go. See? Yeah. Yeah. All of the things, all of the systems. I think some families are really unique, but I would say most families like that kind of falls under those sort of categories in general, which is like how we group them. I think what's like more important and interesting when I meet with clients and I find them a house manager and we get their home system set up and they're like, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? And I'm like, I feel like I need to hold you accountable to like, yeah, what are you going to do? Like you have 8 hours back in your week. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to scale your business? Are you going to like go sign up for the tennis class you've always wanted to do? I have one client who's like hired a coach and she's running a half marathon and she never thought she would because she's got 5 kids between the ages of 2 and 10, right? And like she finally like has her life back. And I think it's more just like really empowering for people to sort of think like, oh, I'm a person. I'm not a machine. I'm not a robot. I'm not like a mom who's just like taking on all these things and taking care of everybody else. It's like, how do I take care of myself? How am I going to reinvest this time and energy into myself?
I love that because some of the work that we actually do at Empowered Journey is helping people find that clarity of what's really important to them, what energizes them, what fills their cup. And like the work that you're doing is creating the space for them to actually go and do some of the things that they're discovering really energizes.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a lot about being the CEO of your life, chief energy officer of your life, and like your energy is contagious. And if your energy is drained from doing laundry or doing the dishes, or if you don't like doing carpool, waiting in carpool line, right? If those things are draining for you, then the work that you're doing is helping them find the right person, delegate those things so that they can go and do the marathons or the yoga class or pouring back into them. What are some of your I feel like you get so much, like you get to peek behind the curtain to so many families. And so the families that you interact with that really are high functioning, thriving, healthy, loving families, what have you seen that is common themes, common threads, common practices, common routines that they might have that you think helps contribute to their family being so strong?
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing more and more of, which is delightful, is partners who are really coming together. And I think partners who are sharing in the mental load of their home to the point where they're like, we've realized as a partnership that there just aren't enough hours in the day to get it all done. Even though we are like willing, we're eager, we're wanting to really share in this. We want to be a team. And I think like what I'm seeing is there are teams, like partners who are like, we just realized that even if we work really hard, even if we're staying up till midnight every night, there's just no way we're going to get this all done and we need help. And I think it's like asking for help. It's like as a team working together, like what are the things we can take off each other's plate? And I think this is a little bit of a juxtaposition because I think right now we're seeing a lot of, with like the fair play movement and mental load. And like, there's a lot of this like default parent, primary parent, like there's a lot of this that is controversial and it's like falling a lot on like a male versus sort of female dynamic. And I am the first one to say like, listen, it's going to take us generations and generations to get out of this like gendered role bias that we've found ourselves in. Okay. So like, can we all just agree that like, yes, it's important for us to start. Yes, it's important for us to show our kids these are the things that go into the invisible load of running a household and like making sure everyone's taken care of. And yes, let's make the invisible visible. Let's get our partner involved. Let's share in the mental load. Let's talk about it. Let's have emotionally uncomfortable conversations. But I think at the end of the day, even if we go and do that right and we're perfectly split up our cards in our fair play deck, I just still don't think there are enough hours in the day to do it. And I think like we're also in a really interesting point in our sort of society where we're in the sandwich generation where like our parents are aging, our kids are young, like we can't rely as heavily on our own support systems as I think we maybe thought that we could. And so we're really like having to build our village instead of like, there's no village that just like shows up when you start having kids and family. It's like the village is the one that you build. And so I think it's just a matter of like leaning into that and accepting that and embracing that and saying, so the families I work with that are like getting it right from my perspective are the ones that are like leaning in. They're like, this is a crazy season of life for our family. I'm building a business. You're working. We want to spend time as a family. We like don't want to miss out on the moment. So we're just going to say we need help. We're going to invest in that help for our family, and we're gonna make it work, and we're not gonna like feel guilty about it.
I love that you're bringing in both of those ideas, like asking for help, but then also, yeah, the partner needs to step up. And I think one of the cool things that's happened in our family is like I did carry the mental load for so long by myself. And in the past several years, my husband's really stepped up and started handling like arranging childcare. If we're both going to be at a dinner in the evening, like making sure that we've got the right babysitter coverage. And the other thing that he's started doing recently is helping with trip planning, which before, I mean, like he likes to joke that for our wedding, he literally had one job. It was to show up. Like I did everything else for the wedding planning and same for trips, right? But recently, like the past couple of years, I just haven't had that same capacity. And he's been carrying some of the load of trip planning. He's been, delegating to some travel agents, but he's still making the trips happen. But at the same time, we're both fully invested in making sure that we've got the right support at home because we know that it's still impossible. Even if he's helping me with stuff and we're delegating and splitting, you're right. It's exactly what you said. There's not enough time in the day to do all of the things, run the businesses, raise our kids, spend time with them, connect with them, and still do all of the other things that are required to keep our home from falling apart.
Yep, exactly.
Is there anything that you would like to share with our listeners before we wrap up? Any last tips, anything that you would like to share?
I mean, gosh, I think a good place to just start if you're like, okay, how do I start down this journey of like finding more support or delegating or getting my partner involved or whatever that is, I would say start by making the invisible visible. So there is so much that you are doing that you probably don't even realize that you're doing. Like your life is made up of 2-minute tasks that don't really need to be done by you, it turns out. And so I would just say like start by really understanding how much time are you spending managing your household and like what would you do if you could have that time back. And one of the free resources that we offer at Sage Haus, and it's on our website and I can make sure you have it for show notes, is a quiz called how much time are you spending managing your household? And this 8-question quiz will give you answer 8 questions. It at the end tells you you're spending this many hours managing your household. And here's our tailored suggestion based on what you said to the first steps that you can take in offloading those mental, physical, emotional tasks. So yeah, I would just say if you aren't really sure where to start, like go start there.
And then if listeners are interested in learning more about you or Sage Haus, how can they connect?
Yeah, so I'm mostly on Instagram. You can find me at my Sage Haus. House is spelled Haus. I'm Kelly Hubbell. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me there too. I'm pretty active on both Instagram and LinkedIn. And yeah, and I would just say go take the quiz, or we also have a free guide on our website called How to Transition Your Nanny into a House Manager, which is very popular for families who are like, we are kind of at this place where we're not sure, like, do we keep our nanny? Do we want her to transition into like more holistic support for us? Or like, how does that all going to go down? And so that's another free resource that we offer.
Thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your wisdom with our listeners. The work that you're doing, it's so important.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for tuning in to Empowered Living. I hope today's conversation sparked some inspiration and gave you tools to live more intentionally in your family, work, and life. If you enjoyed our episode today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story or actionable takeaway. And if you know someone who would love this episode, share it with them, because living an intentional life is better when we do it together. Until next time, remember, The life you want doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Let's keep creating it one step at a time.